Hey guys, so we're talking about relationships, the good part of relationships. We've been talking about conflict and racism and prejudice for a couple days now. So hopefully, we're going to talk about good stuff now. And we're going to talk about love and attraction. And so, attraction, and I'm talking about like romantic and sexual attraction, but also like friend and acquaintance attraction, with things that bring people together, things that make people like each other. And there's big three ingredients about liking each other. The very first thing is just that you need to meet someone, be close to them physically, like on planet Earth, close to them. So just the mere proximity of them being close to you, you're more likely to like someone just because they are closer to you. You might not know someone at the beginning of class, but the more you sit next to them, the more you talk to them, the more of friends you're going to be. That's called the mere exposure effect. The more and more you like, the more and more you're exposed to something, the more you like it, the more you tend to find the good things in it, so forth and so on. So just seeing it and seeing it often, having it close to you, you're going to like it. Physical attractiveness, it's the very first thing that we see when we meet someone before we even know anything, before we even know if they're nice, if they're mean, if they are polite and respectful, if they are, whatever they believe, anything. We see their face, and we see how they're dressed, and we see what they look like. So that's the first thing that catches our eye. And then beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that's true. So the physical attractiveness is to each individual person. And then similarity. That's what keeps people together. They always say like opposites attract. That's not true. That's a myth. Opposites might attract at the very beginning, but that doesn't hold people together. People that have similar interests, they have the same sense of humor, they have the same likes, they have the same dislikes. That will bring people together. If you have people that have nothing in common, they might find each other attractive physically, but they're not going to have a meaningful, long-lasting relationship. And there is two types of love here. There is passionate love. That's the honeymoon phase of any relationship, and where it is more about lust than love. And it does fade. That only lasts, and that fades in every relationship. So that only lasts 6 to 30 months. So not very long. We're talking about half a year to not even 3 years. And then hopefully, if you stick around after that, you'll get into the companionate love. So there's passionate and companionate, where there's two things that really make companionate love different than passionate love. And one of them is equity. Like it's an equal relationship. There's not one person that's, doing more. There's not one person that is in it more. It's just 50-50. And like intimacy. And I'm not talking about like sexual intimacy. I'm talking about like sharing secrets and passions, and being very vulnerable with that person, and it going both ways. So those are the two big pieces of companionate relationships, is that it's equitable and it's intimate. You might not get that in a passionate love relationship. It might not be equitable, and it might not be intimate. You might not, get into the, deep dark secrets of your life and things like that. Here I sent home a list that I wanted you to tally, and if you haven't done that, do that now. It looks like this. There are 13 things on here that I want you to rank from most important to least important in looking for a partner. So we're looking for a romantic partner. So 1 is like, this is a non-negotiable. They have to be this. They have to have this characteristic, all the way to like 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No doubling up, no ties. You got to rank them in order. And the list, the average list of a person is different, whether it's a boy or a girl. But I'm going to give you some time. If you haven't done that, pause it. There's a couple things though here you might not know what they mean. Good heredity just means like good genes, like good genetics. Someone always asks adaptability, kind of like go with the flow. They are not so rigid. They just kind of go with the flow. Okay, so those are the characteristics to choose from, and here's how they ranked. we've got men here on the left-hand side, women's ranking. This is the national average on the right-hand side. And you see that, both men and women are kind of looking for the same thing at the very top, where we want someone who's kind and understanding and intelligent. Men are going to rank physical attractiveness higher than women do. Women don't rank it as high, but women rank good earning capacity on their list higher than men are going to rank it. I thought it was interesting that the desire for children, desire for children is higher than that for men than women. And good housekeeper kind of tied, and there's a couple other things that tied. Creativity tied, and religious orientation tied for last important characteristic. You might find that strange. Some of you might have that at the very beginning of the list. Just keep in mind, this is not the Tomball or Texas or Southern list. This is the national list. And as you know, in Tomball, we're more conservative. So people in Tomball typically rank that a little bit higher than nationally. So let's talk about some more good things about relationships. So altruism. Altruism is an unselfish, good deed, an unselfish regard for the welfare of others. It is the putting someone ahead of yourself. There was a Friends episode where Phoebe and the gang argued about, is there even such a thing as an unselfish good deed? Because even if you donate clothes, you might get a tax write-off. So are you doing that selfishly or what? If you are doing volunteer work, are you recording the hours so you can put that on your college transcript? Are you doing it for NHS points? Because if that's the reason you're doing it, then that's a selfish good deed, not an unselfish good deed. But here are some examples of an unselfish good deed. I remember when this happened, this was all over the news. This was in Utah. A motorcyclist hit a car and slid underneath another car, and the motorcycle burst into flames. Well, a whole bunch of people in the crowd, they went and they picked up the car and got the motorcyclist out, and moments later, everything exploded. And those people put themselves directly in harm's way. So that's not selfish at all. That's unselfish to save someone else. So when a soldier dives on, a live grenade to save the rest of the camp, that's an example of an unselfish good deed. I remember reading about the American Airlines flight 1420, and it on takeoff, I believe. It was either on takeoff or on landing. The plane accidentally went off to the side of the runway, and one of the wings clipped a telephone pole and kind of spun around. Well, everything burst into flames, but there was a college student who was 21 years old, and he stayed on the plane helping people to get off the plane. He wasn't a flight attendant. He wasn't a pilot or anything. He was just a random guy on the plane that went back in. Smoke was billowing out. And on his last time back in, he thought he heard someone else. There actually wasn't anyone else. He got everyone out safely, but he did succumb to the smoke and he died in the aisle. So that is a truly unselfish good deed. That is an act of altruism, because he ended up giving his life for the welfare and for the sake of others. So there's the picture of the crash. We're going to talk in class tomorrow about Kitty. This is Kitty right here, and we're going to talk about the bystander effect. But that's all we have right now. So just altruism and attraction and affection and different types of love and things like that. Have a good one.